what's up, hockey fans, and welcome to episode number 72 of Marty's Illegal Stick Hockey Podcast, recording here on Wednesday night, April 13th, 2022. I'm Scott Kinville, and I got to tell you, we have got another fun show lined up for you tonight. I've been waiting for this one. First of all, before I bring our guest in, I want to let you guys know that the professor, Jeremy Roberts, is going to try to be here. He's working this week. The poor guy, he works for a local water department, and I think he's pretty much up to his shoulders in water right now. So he's going to try to dry off and get here. So maybe we'll see him, maybe we won't. But in the meantime, of course, I have my trusty sidekick right over here, my producer, the guy who presses all the right buttons on this show, the one and the only, Dave the Save Warner.
Yeah, we can do that.
There you go. See? The man knows his buttons. There's no doubt about it.
I just thought rim shot. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
But, I got to tell you guys something. This guy is dedicated. Total dedication out of this guy because today is his wedding anniversary and he's sitting here with me talking about hockey.
Yep. And my wife's birthday.
And she is a saint. I got to tell you, she really is.
She's not far. So speak well. You got chocolate chip cookies last week from her. So
it was like it was my birthday.
Yeah. I didn't see any of that today.
Well, then there you go. What's that telling you? Okay, so anyways, I'm going to bring our guest in. So the Utica Comets this year have been just an unbelievably exciting team. They had just brought the thunder all year long. What a team to watch on the ice. Well, this guy also keeps that excitement and that energy going in between the faceoffs, in between periods, throughout the entire game. He is the in-game host for the Utica Comets, Mr. Brennan Miller. Brennan, what's going on?
Oh, feeling good. I love the introduction there. I do. That's because that's what I do. That's my job, right? Is to bring the energy, try and keep people excited because when the fans are excited, the guys play better. We win more games. Yeah. I love it. That's great.
Absolutely. And you do a fantastic job of it. You really do.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I know my role, right? Yeah, not too over the top, but enough to keep things rolling.
But you almost said, you said know your role. You almost sounded like The Rock. Now you really blow my mind if you can raise one eyebrow. And
that's actually early when I was first started doing this, our director of in-game presentation, Gina, she texted me during a game and was like, I want you to do a hype up and I want you to go full WWE, completely just play to the camera, play to the fans. So yeah, that plays definitely.
That is awesome. Now you just needed a theme entrance.
Right. I need
and pyros.
I need to come in and my music plays and everyone's like, oh, here he comes.
It's Baby Shark. Yeah.
Well, hey, if you were going to have a wrestler's theme entrance, who would it be?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, you can't. So I have a bunch of buddies who are big into WWE, and you really can't break or beat the glass shatter of Stone Cold. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, especially like WrestleMania when he came back.
Oh, yeah.
On the second night. Oh.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was absolutely awesome. I've always loved CM Punk's cult of personality, too. That was huge for me that one summer. But anyways, we're not here to talk about wrestling. We're getting off the tracks. Dave's over here shaking his head because as soon as I start getting off the tracks, he gets nervous.
Yeah, mute button comes out.
That big hook from the Gong Show.
Yeah, I can do that too. Oh, jeez.
There it is. Of course.
Yank him off the stage.
Of course. So, Brennan, tell me, how did you get to become the in-game host for the Utica Comets?
So I actually... It's a weird path, right? So I wasn't one of the hosts at the beginning of the year. It was strictly Missy. And so I started with the Comets as a production intern. I was with Jason Shia up in the booth, and I was writing game stories and cutting highlights for the shows that go up between periods, like when they talk about everything that went on in the period. And so I was sitting right up there next to Adam Pollock whenever he did color commentary and Gary Heenan and it was me, whoever was doing color, and Jason up there. And then they kind of just kept throwing me in at different positions whenever someone was out, whenever someone would go down. So I actually did radio play-by-play for Michael Lear. I think it was the third or fourth game of the season against Lehigh Valley. which is that's my field. I do play-by-play. That's my thing. Like I've worked this team, Cheryl Silversmith is a collegiate baseball team.
Yeah.
Down the road, I've worked for them for 3 or 4 years doing play-by-play, and that's kind of my direction. So I did that. And then when Missy missed a few games, they contacted me to jump in and be the in-game host for a weekend. And then after that, I think the next Monday came around and I got another text saying, hey, we want to keep you on and we want to pay you instead of just being an intern.
Right.
A little money when you show up to the arena. And I was like, yeah, I'm in. Absolutely. 100%. And so I've stuck with it.
Nice. Show me the money.
Right. Exactly.
The Cheryl, so are they perfect game collegiate league, or are they
NYCBL? So the baseball league.
But because we're down here, right?
Division, different leagues.
Right. That's okay. And the name sounded familiar, but I couldn't remember if they were part of Perfect Game or because we're nearing baseball season down here, but it's kind of cobwebs in the brain still. Hockey on the mind.
Yeah. Same level, different leagues.
So for you, what does a game day preparation like?
So being a guy that is kind of upset, like I'm a huge fan of the team. I went to games prior to being part of like the behind the scenes staff for years and years. Like I know that I'm 21. I went when I was 15 years old to games the inaugural season and have been going since. So it is a lot different. It's fun. So I have to know who is on the team, who these guys are, where they come from. And that's just like a personal thing. So a game day starts off with me just like researching what streaks we have going on. I'll send that information to Jason because I'm usually up there in the booth. Him and I will write his little pregame blurb together so he knows what he's talking about. And then I have some information going into the game. So I'll look up all of our guys' stats, the team that's coming in stats. And then I show up game at 7:00. I'll show up at 5:30. We will sit down in the front office. Me, Gina, Dan, who is like our head kind of intern who runs all of our game ops, and then all the other game ops interns and Missy. And we'll sit down and we will run through our script. So we have 3 TV timeouts and then the 2 intermissions that we have to have something prepared for every single game. And so the first TV timeout in the first period is always Hometown Hero. Then we have Smile Cam, I think is our third one. We'll fit something in between those 2. And then, whatever else we can throw in. Obviously, our second intermission is Chuck a Puck, which is always one of my favorite things.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
It's great. To just stand there and like watch pucks just fly over your head. It's a great visual.
But just saying to yourself, they got their foam.
Yeah. Exactly. I've gotten hit numerous times. But even if I'm standing like right up against the glass, I don't know if it's like a little kid who maybe like can't get it over or people are aiming for me. But I've gotten clocked by those. Me and the Comets will try and like hide out so we don't get popped. But
especially on $3 beer Wednesday nights, somebody's saying double vision.
Most of the Chuck Pucks come in, but no. So we'll go through our kind of schedule for what our plan is, and then we're done with that by 6. We'll get our handouts. So usually it's like I get 4 or 5 pins that are usually gone by the second I walk out the door to hand out to people, and then we just kind of wait for the game to start. Make sure that all of our stuff is prepped and ready. If we have a t-shirt toss, we'll load that in the specific like tunnel that we're going to start that from. We don't actually get people for our trivia or for our games until the day of. So we will go out and start asking people around for if they want to participate in like trivia for the second or third period. And if they want to participate in like our intermission game, we don't have anything scheduled for the first intermission. And you'd be surprised how many no's we actually get. I think it's probably 10 no's to every 1 yes.
Really?
So yeah, I know. It surprised me too.
Wow.
Whenever I walk up to people, because in my mind, I'm like, oh, this is great. You get to be on the ice. You get to have fun. You have a chance to win a prize. But no, people turn us down all the time. And I'm just like, you're not fun.
Terrified to be wrong.
Right. Okay, just go out there. And a lot of times people are afraid to fall. And I'm like, it's not that hard. It's not as slippery as you really think it is. But hey. So yeah, we'll go out, look for people for that. And then once the game starts, it's just following our script, making sure everyone is in the right spot at the right time. making sure Naughty is ready, prepped and ready to be where Naughty needs to be. And then we just go. We try and get everything done as efficient as possible.
That's so cool because I always wondered about, because I mean, my family, we have season tickets too. So, I mean, we don't miss a game. I mean, unless I got to work, I don't miss. That's, goes without saying. But if you really sit there and watch and think about it, there's a lot of work that goes into that.
Oh, absolutely. And I know it all the credit goes to Gina Osavera, who is our director of in-game operations or game presentation, excuse me, who she has all of that stuff prepped and ready to go. She communicates with all the people who need to get stuff done. Like the nights that we have Naughty throw popcorn around, that popcorn is prepped and ready an hour beforehand. So we've talked to the people in the concession stands, and I remember I was carrying the bag of popcorn, getting it ready to go into a tunnel one time, and the lady in the concession stand who had made it was like, "So what are you guys gonna do with that?" And I just had the heart to be like, "We're gonna give it to that big red furry guy over there, and he's just gonna throw it, and it's gonna end up all over the place."
You're gonna see this coming back out in a garbage bag later on. Don't worry about it.
Empty garbage bag, and she was like, "That's what you're using it for?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm so sorry." She goes, "That was good popcorn too. I salted it and everything." I felt bad for her.
You broke her heart. Yeah,
right, I know, but we get all that stuff prepped ready beforehand, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun to run around, especially during the first period, and try and make sure that we've got everything taken care of.
No, that's really cool. And who comes up with the trivia questions?
That's a great question, actually. I think it is mostly Gina, because we want to find like a balance, right, between hard enough where it's not like an easy answer, but something that a lot of the people in the arena will know, because we know, like when we have someone on who's doing trivia, the majority of the time they get their answers from the people who are sitting behind them and just like yelling answers at them. And most of the time they're right. So yeah, we just try and make it fun, because and we don't want anyone to lose, right? Like we don't want people to be embarrassed in front of, thousands of people sitting at the odd. Like we want it to be a fun experience for everyone, and that includes the people who are actually on camera. Right,
absolutely. Because I mean, you're right. I mean, there's always that. Ooh, because I watch them, I'm like, I know this one, and then I'm like, oh man, am I glad he had that microphone in front of me, because I'd be going, can anybody give me a lifeline?
and then we have times where we had when the Inlet Mighty Loons were with us, and we had the kid who named all 50 states in 30 seconds. That was not planned. I went up to the Loons and said, hey, we have to grab one of you to do a trivia question. It's going to be, can you name all 50 states? We have a video prepped where a player named as many as possible. He got 17. Does anyone want to do it? And they all pointed at this kid, and I'm like, okay, sounds good. You're coming with me. We went into the tunnel, and I'm like, hey, how do you think you're going to do? Like, do you think you can get 17? That's the number you have to beat. And he goes, I think I can get all of them. And I'm like, you only have 30 seconds, right? And he's like, yep, I can get all of them. And then he just flew, and he was going alphabetical order, one after another. And I was like, that's incredible. That's what we love.
That was awesome. I was there that night. That was great. And you know what? Those guys are so cool. It's such a great story. I mean, I was talking with Ethan about that, because he went up there and decided. I mean, it's incredible what they've done up there, up in Inlet. Yeah. It really is. So, and what you were saying earlier about writing the preview pieces. So, because I do the same thing for our website, and you know what? I love doing it just because it makes you so much more informed going into the game. It really does. It's you just, but then of course you start overthinking things watching the game. It's like, oh no, wait a minute, he's on a 4. What's he doing?
Right. I love looking at streaks, and when our guys go on point streaks, because at the beginning of the year we had a ton of guys who were leading the league in points or goals or assists or whatever it may be. Whether it was Chase DeLeo, who I think had like 9 in a row, or Alex Holtz, who had like a ridiculous double-digit point streak early in the year. That's like my favorite part. But then I get nervous, right? Like in the second or third period, if these guys don't get a point, I'm like, come on, you got to get something here. You got to keep this streak alive. Yeah, and I'll be down with Jeremy down in the media tunnel. And we'll be watching, and a bunch of the guys down there are like, yeah, this guy's got a point streak. This guy's got a point streak. This guy's got a score. And I'm like, I know.
You're preaching to the choir. I know.
Right.
I'm just as nervous as you are. Don't worry about
it. Exactly. Yeah.
But let's talk about those Comets. So, I mean, like I was saying in the introduction, they've just been a wagon all year long. They really have. A little bit of a rough patch lately. That happens to every team. I mean, listen, the sky is not falling. It's
Right.
not. Okay.
Right.
They've had some injuries to deal with. Freddie Gauthier being out, hurt. You got Fabian Zetterlund, AJ Greer, Kevin Ball, Nico Dawes has been up in New Jersey for a while. But by the way, those guys have been amazing up there.
Yeah, Dawes yesterday became the Devils' leading goaltender in wins on the season.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think 13 with us as well. So he's just like he's got far and away more wins than any other goaltender in the organization.
Oh, no doubt about it. And the scary part really is, I mean, he's 21 years old and this is his first professional season in North America.
Right. And so the Devils actually, or NHL.com put out a piece yesterday about Utica and kind of the farm system and how the Devils were looking at it. And they mentioned like Akira Schmid was supposed to be the number one guy in Adirondack. He wasn't supposed to be up with us this season at all, but with the rotation that they have had up at the NHL level, like we have been without our top two guys. And right. I love Merrick's Mittens, but again, he wasn't supposed to be the starter in Adirondack. He was supposed to be the backup to Akira Schmid in Adirondack, and now he's up playing at a high level. Like the turnover and the guys that have gotten sent up and then sent back down, there's nothing to worry about because we're getting our best. We're going to get our best players back. New Jersey at this point, they got nothing to play for. They've got their sitting guys who are injured already. I mean, Jack Hughes is out for the rest of the season, so you have to fill that spot with a forward, i.e. Zetterlund or Greer. And then when their season's over, our guys are going to come back down and they're going to perform because they've been performing all year. Exactly. And they've been performing at a very good level in New Jersey. I think Miles Wood got shut down too. Yes. Thought I saw that today. So, I would expect those guys to probably remain up in New Jersey until their regular season ends, to be honest with you. With the way they're playing, give them a look. At least until I think they're on a little bit of a West Coast swing right now. So I think they're at least until the end of that and then probably to the end of the season. So we're not going to have them for a few games, but they'll be back when it really matters. Exactly. And they're going to be primed too. That's the whole thing right there. Going up to the National League and then, scoring your first career goal, like we saw Zetterlund and Ball do yesterday. And then you got to come back down to the AHL and be like, I'm ready for this. I'm the big guy. I'm the big guy here. Thank you very much. Oh yeah. They're going to be coming down with a chip on their shoulder. They're going to be like, let's do this, boys. That's about it. Yeah. We've played, we've showed what we've got up there. Now let's prove it once we get to this, the playoffs here. Absolutely. And, now they have the X by their name. They're in. They are in. Finally, that saga is over with. And now, of course, the division title is next in sight, which their magic number is 8 at this point. I think it's pretty safe to say that they're going to end up winning the division title too. Let me ask you a question. Who do you want to see them get in the first round? Who do I want them to get? Syracuse. Really? I do. We have beat Syracuse pretty regularly this season. I think 9. We have 9 or 10 wins over them, and we've only lost them 2 or 3 times. Right. I think that we have been able to beat them pretty regularly. I think that would bring a nice intensity to the first round or not the first round, but the first round that we play in of the playoffs. Who do you like? Well, here's the thing. If they're going to play somebody in the first round, I think I would actually like to see them play Belleville. To be perfectly honest with you, I know Belleville had a pretty good, run against them last week. But I think if you're going to play somebody in the first round, I think Belleville's the one I would prefer. Laval has played them tough all season long. Listen, I don't think that there's a team in that division that should beat the Comets in a playoff series. No, if the Comets are playing the way they can. Once they get all their guys back, right? But as far as just a first round, because I always look at the first rounds as like a trap series. They always are, right? Because anything can happen. Especially for a team that's going to be coming off of a bye, right? Because we in the first round. Exactly. So, I mean, I think it's pretty safe to say Laval's going to finish in second the way they're playing. Even though that second through 6th place in the North Division right now is still, what are they, like Oh,
0.2 points percentage. I mean, it's ridiculous.
It's absolute chaos. Yeah.
It really is. But if they're going to play somebody in the, I think I would rather see Belleville. I would think, but I honestly, I think Rochester ends up finishing ahead of them.
Yeah.
I really do, just because Rochester's going to be getting guys back as well. Mm-hmm. They're finally getting healthy again. So,
right. And that's one of the things you have to think about once you get to the end of the year. Like, who is going to have guys that have to stay up for an NHL run when their teams go to the playoffs, and who are guys or who are teams that are going to be able to send their guys back down? And Buffalo, not going to make the playoffs. So Rochester's going to be getting some guys back. I don't know if Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is back down, but he was at one point. Yeah. So, like, he's a guy that Rochester is going to be able to lean on in goal, who is very, very solid. So, yeah, I could definitely see them doing a little bit there. Man,
that is such a fun name to say, though, too, isn't it? Right? I just love Ukko-Pekka
Luukkonen. Enough. Every show.
I know, but it's so fun to say.
Enough. God.
It's like consensus. I think most fun name in the American Hockey League is Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, how do you not like saying that, right?
Exactly. I'm with you.
But yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, if first round, get to Belleville, and then, I mean, could you imagine if it's like Syracuse or Laval for the division to move on to play the Atlantic? Just the intense series that's going to be.
Mm-hmm. And that's going to be fun, right?
Oh my God.
Those are the games that I am really excited for when we get to actual, arena's going to be packed every single night. People are going to be loud. It's going to be hot. Like the last few games, especially like when Brodeur was here, and when there's people in the building, it gets like like I sweat. Like, there are games where I wasn't doing that before, but like it's going to be quite the environment when we actually get to those playoff series, especially if it's against a team that, we don't like.
Right. Oh, absolutely. And you know what the best part is too? Now that we're getting into like the end of April, early May, you don't have to come in with your jacket on, freezing, walking across the parking lot. It's so nice to be able to just walk in with a t-shirt. Mm-hmm. You're already like in a good mood. It's like, this is great.
Oh, I'm loving it. And I don't have to like start my car before I go back out at the end of games, like early. So it gets warmed up, running, wasting gas before I get out there.
Freezing. Come on, hurry up.
Uh-huh.
Oh boy. But yeah, so as far as Atlantic Division teams, who do you think is going to come out of that division?
The Atlantic Division. Who is?
So you got Springfield and Charlotte have clinched already.
Right.
Providence is pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Lehigh Valley and Wilkes-Barre Scranton are pretty much done.
Yeah.
So that'll leave you Hershey, and there's one more, and it's slipping my mind.
Hartford.
Thank you. Hartford. Yeah. How could I forget that?
Yeah. I think that we had trouble with Springfield.
Yes.
I think that's the team. And it's cliche to say the team that's in first place and has already clinched a playoff spot, but they're in first place for a reason. They're a team that is solid all the way around. And they're a team that I think gave us a little bit of trouble when they came here. And I think that they can be dangerous. Then you have like Hershey is always good.
I know.
He's always good. Like, and I never want them to be, but they're always so good. Even when they're not, the top two teams in the division, they haven't clinched a playoff spot yet. They're always a team that, like, when you see them on the schedule, you're like, oh, it's going to be a tough game.
Absolutely. And it's been like that forever. Because I think they've been in the AHL forever, too. So that's,
yeah.
I mean, I can see Providence being pretty tough just because of their goaltending.
Right.
They've got fantastic goaltending, but I think you're spot on with Springfield. They match up well with the Comets. That's the thing. So that'll be a fun series as well. It really will. So plus there's a couple former Comets on that team, Sam Arnaz.
Right.
So I mean it's but yeah, I think that obviously this is going to be a ball going into the playoffs, and it's going to be fantastic. Marty Brodeur night. How did that go?
That was incredible. so I like, it still blows my mind that I even got to like shake his hand, talk to the man. It was great. So they texted me like 2 days prior, and I knew the game was coming, and I was excited. Like I was researching, I was going back, and I was looking through like Brodeur's stats and how good he was when he was with Utica, which not great. But,
listen, that was a long time ago.
Right, long time ago. Yeah, and then he made up for it with his NHL career. Doesn't matter.
Just a little bit.
Right. Yeah. So like I was already looking up stuff, but then they texted me and said, "Hey, we want you to interview Marty Brodeur during one of our TV timeouts." And yes, I will. I will do that. Sounds good. And so they were like, "Yeah, just 2 questions, make it easy." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, let's hype the crowd up here. Everyone knows why he's here. Everyone is excited that he's here. So let's get the crowd into it a little bit as well." And so we actually showed up like an hour earlier than normal because he had the press conference out front where he talked about the organization coming to, or the Devils specifically coming to Utica. And so we were there, we were ready. It was fun. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I'd tell you that. And better you than me, because if that was me doing the interview, I'd have been like Ralph Cramden. I'd have been going, hamina. Yeah.
I was shaking. Absolutely. I didn't show it. Afterwards, I went up to Utica Zaleski, who was kind of in charge of everything that went on. And I literally put my hand up and I was like, oh boy. That was after the fact. I had already talked to him. I was good. I asked his questions. We had been on. I can be nervous afterwards, but beforehand, then I gotta keep my composure. The most awkward, like it wasn't awkward, but the fact that I like walked into Rob Esch's suite and was like, Mr. Brodeur. And as I did that, I was like, what am I doing? Why am I like, I'm about to shake Marty Brodeur's hand. And I just like addressed him. And yeah, me and you, we're equals right now. I'm like, no, we're not. you sir, are accomplished. I am 14 years old and make $50 a game. So not the same thing. Not the same thing.
And then you don't notice the buckets of sweat coming off of me right now, right?
Right, exactly. I'm not glistening. You're glistening.
That's all. It's not me. It's you.
Yeah, exactly.
So this weekend looks like it's going to be a very, very fun weekend at the Adirondack Center. The Roaring 20s night.
Yeah.
Coming up Saturday. I tell you, those jerseys are awesome.
That has been, so we have had one that's just kind of been floating around the front office, like the mock-up for that jersey. And to keep that a secret, it's been the hardest thing that I have had to do for a long, like it is incredible. I love it.
Oh my God. It's so sharp. It really is. And what a great idea too, to tie in with Utica Club. Right. So, I mean,
if you're going to do that Roaring 20s night, I mean, there's no better, tie than Utica Club to do it with.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, what I read, they're going to have like Model Ts there, the cars lined up.
I think Missy and I are planning on getting all in our 20s garb,
I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah. Of course.
Yes. Beautiful. So let me see. Are you going to have a top hat?
I think I'm going to go with the old, like the newspaper boy cap, kind of flat top, Yeah, I think that's the plan for now. Maybe some suspenders. I'll see what we got in the old.
You know what you got to do too? You got to get one of those handlebar mustaches. You just go walk around and and just Twitter.
Exactly. Yes, I agree.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Are you dressing up? I mean, you have to now.
Well, you know what? Now that you just laid down the gauntlet, I might have to. Now I'll find you somewhere at the. We'll have to get a picture together, dressed up in the 20s, right? So.
Listen, I hope we won't be the only ones. I mean, there's an open invitation, right?
Right. Well, hey, you know what, Dave? You must have something laying around, right?
What do you mean? I'd go into my closet and pull something out?
Hey, I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Okay, well, never hurts to ask. Maybe if you went as like a 20s villain for Halloween one time or something,
I could pull my Model T out of the driveway.
Well, it's always out there getting ready to crank it up, right?
Yeah.
So.
All right.
See, I just love to get him going.
Of course.
See how easy it is? Yeah.
Oh, boy. Well, Brennan, this has been so much fun, man. I can't begin to tell you how much I appreciate you coming on.
Of course.
And you do such a great job.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Like I watched the show like normally, and so when
awesome.
You DM'd me and you were like, "Hey, do you want to be a guest?" I was like, "Absolutely, yeah." I don't have to watch it. I don't have to watch it as it's going on. I can be part of it this time. So
you're living the adventure.
Right, great. No, I was super pumped.
That's great, man. That's
you're asking me.
I'm glad you watched the show. That's really awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And well, it's one of the things where I went to school in Ithaca, and all of my friends down there are from the city, from New Jersey, wherever, where they have professional sports teams that they can go and visit games at. And, I'm a kid who's been to 3 Yankee games in my life and have never been to an NFL game because it's just too far. And the Comets are my team, right? Where I can go to games and I can be an actual fan and participate in the game as it goes on. And so anything that's Comets related, I am 100% in on.
Absolutely. And you're right. That's the nail right on the head right there. They're the local team.
Yep.
They're right here. They're such a part of this community that, how can you not be a part of it? You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. And it's fun. It's fun to just get out and go and watch a hockey game and hang out with your people. And, when their team is successful, that makes it even better.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Puts everybody in a good mood.
Right. I smile every minute I'm there.
Absolutely. And hopefully we'll be doing a lot of smiling this weekend because we got Syracuse Friday night. And then we got the Roaring 20s game Saturday night, against Belleville.
Yep.
So absolutely. And like I said, I'll put some 20s garb on. How's that?
Woo! I mean,
but like I said, you got to promise me we're going to track each other down for a picture so we can put it up on the Facebook page. How's
absolutely.
that? Beautiful. Well, again, Brennan, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
We really appreciate it. And like I said, you do a fantastic job, and we will see you Friday night at the Adirondack Bank Center. So,
yep, I will see you there.
Absolutely. Keep up the good work, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Have a good one. That was Brennan Miller. That was a lot of fun.
That
really was. So, Dave, I think what we're going to do now, because we got our next guest waiting in the wings.
He's in the wings.
So what we're going to do is we're going to do our quick commercial break. We're going to get our word in from the gentleman from the Balls Army. We're going to do your By Little Falls commercial. And then we'll come back and we'll do breakaway trivia when we come back. We're going to switch it up a little bit.
All right.
Okay?
It's fine.
All right. So let's put those slides up, shall we?
All right. You catch me off guard on that.
Well,
where am I?
That's okay. Yeah. There you are right there. So first up is Priceless Inspections. That's home inspections from Joshua A. Amodio. You can contact him at 315-525-8725 for all your home inspection needs. He's great at what he does. And then up next is the ringleader of the Balls Army, Mr. Scott Schuster's Epic DJ Service. Call Scott at 315-219-3568 for all your DJ needs. Like I've said before, if you've ever been to the Odd and seen him in action with the Balls Army, you will want this guy DJing your next special event. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to our My Little Falls commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to have the voice of the Berglund Center for the Roanoke Rail Yard Dawgs, so I can spit it out there.
Yeah, say that 3 times.
Yeah, really, right? Mr. Roy Chambers. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Visit My Little Falls and stay connected with the latest news, information, and events in the city and the area. Our mission is to generate interest in the community and connect residents in a more meaningful way by facilitating deeper conversations about how these stories will shape the future of the Mohawk Valley. Join thousands of weekly visitors who stay up to date with feature stories, interviews, videos, our event calendar, and print publication, the Mohawk Valley Express. It's about timely local news for the community, keeping citizens informed about important issues, telling about the people who live and work here, and giving locally owned businesses the opportunity to reach a very targeted audience of locals and tourists alike. It's a whole new form of media-rich content developed specifically for today's mobile lifestyle and listeners. You can download our iOS app in the iTunes Store, listen to our country music streaming radio station, or sign up for a weekly newsletter. Stop by today at mylittlefalls.com. You'll be glad you did.
And we are back for segment 2 of Marty's Illegal Stick. And I tell you, we're going to bring Roy in just a second. But first, I just want to get breakaway trivia in real quick.
Okay.
And I'm going to see if you can answer this one.
Oh, it's going to fall on me, huh?
Yes, exactly. What I want to know is who holds the NHL record for most shots on goal in a career?
Are you trying to trick me?
No.
Because you know my favorite.
Yeah, go ahead and say it.
Gretzky.
No.
Gordie Howe.
No.
God.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna save the answer because I'm gonna see if our guest can get it. See what I did there? Huh?
Yeah.
Our guest is the voice of the Berglund Center for the Roanoke Rail Yard Dawgs of the Southern Professional Hockey League. He's making his second appearance on the show. It's Mr. Roy Chambers. Roy, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I am doing fantastic, sir. Any idea who the answer is for breakaway trivia?
I'm going to go someone a little more modern and say Ovechkin.
It's close. That's close. Ray Bork.
Huh?
He's got 6,209 shots on goal. Ovechkin's like under 200 away from him. So
doesn't surprise me anyway.
The way he shoots the puck,
catch Wayne.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Well, actually, Gretzky's 8th on that list.
Okay.
Yeah, he was like 1,000 behind Bork.
1,000.
1,000 shots on goal behind. So let's say he definitely chose his shots well. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So Roy, how you been?
Doing well. We got through the end of the season here, and playoffs start this week. Actually, first set of games. There's 3 games tonight in the league. Roanoke is on the road down in Knoxville tonight, taking on the regular season champs down in their barn, and we'll be back in action here Saturday night for game 2 in the Berglund Center back in Roanoke.
Nice. So that's the Knoxville Ice Bears.
Yes, correct.
So did the Ice Bears run away with the league in the regular season, or was it pretty close? Or
it was they were near the top all year. We started off the year against them and lost a couple games in overtime and shootout, and then it was pretty much a battle between them and Huntsville all year long for first place until Peoria got hot and slid up in there. And so Peoria wound up finishing 3rd and Huntsville finished 2nd. It came down to the last 4 games before it was decided.
Wow, and that's awesome. And it's always like that close finish to the end. Because sometimes when you get a team that's running away with it, it's like, okay, that's a given.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and Roanoke did help Knoxville out a little bit by beating Huntsville the second to last week of the season. And then
well, see, there you go. They owe you guys one.
I'm sorry?
They owe you guys one.
That's right. Yeah, but I don't think so based on the games, because we finished up our home games this year with them, and it wasn't the most sportsmanlike of contests, especially on Saturday night. But it's been interesting when we play them. I mean, they've got a lot of skill. They can play basically any way they want to. They can play a finesse game. They can play a physical game if they need to. But they've got a head coach who's very experienced in this league, and they're very well prepared when it comes to playoff time. So they know what they're doing. They haven't missed the playoffs in 16 years in the SPHL.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive. That really is.
Yep.
So you knew I was going to ask you about it. I mean, that's and I have to tell you, I have to preface this by saying the Southern Professional Hockey League has some of the most passionate fans around. It is. I'm a part of a couple of their Facebook groups, and it is just awesome seeing fans get so passionate about their teams, and I love it. I do. But yeah, you were just referring to a dust-up, shall we say?
Yeah.
That happened on Saturday night. So what exactly happened?
Well, the dust-up I was talking about was per se our home game against Knoxville on Saturday night. Just got really physical, really chippy, really quick. And Roanoke, one of their wingers, was kind of tackled from behind, had face first into the ice, didn't come back the rest of the game, and then there was a few bells that had to be answered on Roanoke's side that they were trying to avenge a little bit of that, and there was some more of the blood spilt on the ice, and wasn't very friendly, and it led to some shots fired this week in the media, especially coming out of Knoxville. Their coach basically went on their local TV down there and called Roanoke a undisciplined, dirty team. So I think, last time I was on the show, we talked about the challenge round that they did to try to do the playoffs a few years ago, trying to get bulletin board material. Mm-hmm. And this year they went back to the standard 1-8 type regular seeding matchups. And I think there's been more bulletin board material back in the regular than there was they thought they were going to get with the challenge series set up. So
it worked out the way everybody wanted it to after all.
I guess so, yeah. But the other one I think you're talking about was our game last weekend down in Fayetteville to close out the regular season. I do know that there were quite a few Roanoke fans that went down to watch the game. Fayetteville is about 4 hours away. And I guess they were letting their allegiance be known, especially when the Dogs had a lead going into the third, and then came back and tied it, went into overtime, and they won in Fayetteville wound up winning in shootout, and their goaltender had some sign language, shall we say, for some of the fans, and it was caught on the live cam and all that good stuff. So, which I guess started a trend, because I saw last night, I guess somebody in the NHL did it too.
So you guys are just trendsetters. That's all.
I guess. I don't know, but it's very different atmosphere. The last month and a half of the season, like you said, all these fan bases are passionate and like to chirp each other just as much as the players do. So it just kind of bleeds all together into one big allegiance, and it makes it interesting to watch. It makes it fun to watch. It won't be boring by any stretch of the imagination.
No, it doesn't. And that's what makes it so much fun. And the SPHL is actually made up of 11 teams. So
yes.
the top 8 teams make the playoffs. So if I'm correct, yes. Let's see, Vermilion County, Birmingham, excuse me, and Macon did not make it in.
Those 3 did not make it in. Vermilion County was an expansion team, so they was their first year trying to get their they were kind of a last-minute entry after one of their team, their prior team had left. So they jumped into the league pretty quick and didn't have from the things I've read, via Facebook groups and things like that, they didn't have a lot of time to necessarily prepare a roster per se. It was kind of a quick,
kind of like a thrown together kind of thing.
Recruit players real quick type deal. And I know they had a lot of roster turnover. They worked with a lot of teams. On trades and stuff like that, trying to build a better product to make it a little bit more competitive throughout the year. So as much as they chirp on each other, they do watch out for each other in the league as well too. So,
right.
But and then Macon was kind of a surprise this year because of they won the COVID championship last year, and for them not to make the playoffs this year was kind of a shock. But that's just sometimes the way things go in this league between injuries and call-ups and things like that. You just don't know how those things are going to affect you and affect your play throughout the year.
Right. And actually, Macon, for the listeners here, obviously we know that they had signed Jamie Bussell, Utica Pioneer, who just graduated. So, that's another exposure for the SPHL up here, because like I've told you 100 times, I mean, this league is so much fun. We want to do everything we can to spread the word up here, because, like I said, it's a great league. It really is. And so the playoff matchups. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, and it does seem like the footprint. They're not grabbing up any market they can. They do their due diligence to make sure it's going to work. But obviously, Vermilion County and all of them are kind of in the northern part of the country, in the Midwest. I'm sure they're potentially looking into markets closer to your area, potentially to kind of,
sure.
Maybe in the Ohio area or maybe Western Pennsylvania or something like that, to help kind of get some more competition around and cut down on some of these travel issues that they have with these longer bus trips.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. And with Vermilion County, that makes 11 teams, like I said. So, I mean, it would make sense for the league to actually go to 12 just to balance things out a little bit, I would think.
Yeah. It would, but again, like I said, this league doesn't just kind of they do the research into the markets to make sure it's not going to be a 1, 2, or 3 year type commitment. They want to make sure that it lasts, not only for the league but for the fan base that city is going to have, as far as making sure they have the support to make them viable and keep the league as strong as it can be.
And that is so smart on the league's end. It really is, because it's easy enough to chase the quick buck. If you have somebody who's willing to pay a quick expansion fee for, you've seen it in pro. It's not just hockey, but you've seen it in pro sports where you get these, millionaires or billionaires. Oh, this looks like fun. I'll buy a team, put them in, and then they get bored with it 2-3 years later, and then the team goes down the tubes, and it's a bad look for everybody involved. So that is just so smart on the SPHL's part.
Yeah. And our fans in Roanoke know exactly how that feels with the 1 year that we had the Roanoke Valley Vipers in the UHL. They came in, they thought they were going to have a good fan base to draw off of. And again, it was kind of one of those quick situations. It was kind of thrown together really quick. And the team folded with, after one season of play. And then Roanoke didn't have a team for over a decade. So, that can kind of leave a bad name if something happens, with other leagues. When you look into that, well, why did this one succeed? Type deal. Is the interest not there anymore, or something to that effect? So,
absolutely.
With the money that's involved with it today and things like that, if they don't do their due diligence, it's probably not something you may not want to totally jump into and be involved with either. So it's kind of protection on both sides.
Right. And it just, like I said, it makes so much sense. So the playoff matches, we just talked about Knoxville and Roanoke. So the other ones are, let's see, Huntsville that you had just talked about. They're the number 2 seed going against the Evansville Thunderbolts.
Yes.
And then there's the aforementioned Fayetteville Marksmen facing the number 5 Quad City Storm. And then the number 3 Peoria Rivermen versus the number 6 Pensacola Ice Flyers.
Yes.
So the opening rounds are best of 3, you said, correct?
The entire playoff series is the best throughout the entire playoffs. It's the best of 3. There is the option in the championship game matchup to go best of 5, but I've never seen that actually taken as an option. They usually try to get it done and over with.
Wow, that's cool
for the summer. Yeah,
that's really cool though. I mean, could you imagine like if you had 2 teams that really like hated each other?
Yeah,
said no, we want to drag this out as long as possible. That's it.
But it's an interesting format too, especially with some of the travel issues. I mean, with our series with Knoxville being 4 hours down the road, we are a typical 1-1-1. But a lot of times, if there's going to be a long distance of travel, they'll do usually the lower seed will get the first game at home, and then the higher seed will schedule the last 2, the third, obviously the second, and the third, if necessary, at home to kind of have back to back. Typically, those first games are played in the middle of the week, and 2 and 3 are usually put on the weekend to kind of get a potential for a bigger crowd to have to fight kids going to school next morning or people getting off work late, etc. So I was actually kind of surprised that when I was informed last week of our schedule that we were actually scheduled for Saturday. I was expected to be in the week for us.
Really? Oh, but still, that's great though to be able to get a weekend game.
Yes, absolutely.
It's everything,
And plus, with the 4 hour turnaround, game 3, if necessary, will be played on Sunday back in Knoxville.
So get game's over, get on the bus and head on down the road.
Yeah, usually you have a week to get the series done.
Right, and that makes sense too. Yeah. But I will say, I mean, I'm still kind of hung up on that whole the championship being decided. Whether it's going to be a 3-game or a 5-game series, and I'll be honest with you, I am very surprised that ownership doesn't say no. We're going to play 5 because of the potential for extra 2 games of gate revenue.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never really had discussions with our ownership group or anything like that. If that would ever be the option, I'm sure they have their reasons. Taking a semi-educated guess. Obviously, the deeper in the playoffs you can obviously get more and more intense. There's more room for more injuries and medical expenses to the team and things like that. The expense also, with the travel and hotels and all that. Those would be my 2 educated guesses, and also too, probably half these players on these rosters are first or second year players, and they may not have that much in the tank to where
sure
coming out of college play that many games at that intensity level, spread out over the season there. So that may have a little bit of a player safety concern as well too. For if you're worn down, you're obviously more susceptible to injury as well too.
You bring up a fantastic point there because, and it's funny you say that because I was looking at the Utica Comets. They're our local RAHL team here, and they actually have 11 skaters that haven't played an over 60-game professional season yet.
Right.
They played, juniors before COVID. They played a full, 60, 72-game schedule, which they do have that experience. But for a lot of these players, it's been over 2 years since they've really played a full schedule of anything.
Exactly. And it's the same thing with a lot of these guys. I mean, half the teams played last year in the league with the COVID shortened season. And then some of them did go down and play in the SPHL. Just to kind of keep their conditioning up. I think a lot of the veteran guys that weren't picked up by the 5 remaining teams in the league did that just to kind of realized that was probably the best way they're going to be able to have their legs under them when they went back to their normal teams once COVID was over.
Right. And but I mean, it's been like that for everybody in every league, every player. It's just
Exactly.
But I will say it's nice. It's so nice, knock on wood, to see things kind of just getting back to normal, the way we're used to it, the way we love it. And
Right.
let's just hope it keeps going.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine what those guys were like, when they were playing in the bubble in Toronto a couple of years ago, back in 2020, and then the limited capacity, arenas last year in the NHL and such. I can only imagine. I've been to a couple of baseball games during the day. I've worked a couple of baseball games during the day, and with the ballpark being that quiet, it was very eerie, and I wasn't even out there, out on the field. I was doing whatever I had to do, and it was just so strange. It just didn't feel natural.
Yeah. So. Yeah, you almost hope for pumped in crowd noise.
Yeah, exactly.
You're sitting there with your iPhone looking at YouTube crowd noise.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, but I'm glad, and of course, a lot of that stuff is kept under wraps and things like that for HIPAA reasons and things like that.
Sure,
but
absolutely.
I can't recall too much issues this year through the league of games having to be scheduled in mass because of postponements or something like that due to COVID.
Right.
So I think they did pretty well. I know here in Roanoke they didn't do the post-game autograph sessions like they do every night. They did one massive one on the last home game when the entire team was out on the concourse. So that was where people got their chance to get most of their autographs unless they purchased one of their jerseys, specialty jerseys during the auctions.
Right. That's
kind of limit that exposure a little bit.
Yep, exactly. But like I said, step by step,
we're
getting back to normal. So heading into your big playoff series, any particular Rail Yard Dawgs we should be looking out for?
We've got a couple guys that are pretty hot. We got Nick Ford back from his call up in Jacksonville, about 7 games to go in regular season. And the 4 games at home, he was all over the score sheet. We got some veteran guys, Mac Jansen, Jeff Jones. Mac was pretty hot the last 4 games at home. He got, what was it? I think it was against Knoxville. He had 3 goals in 2 nights, a couple assists. So, and he, there were some records set too for most franchise points in a career. Jeff Jones did that, passed our captain for most points. He passed for most goals earlier in the season with the same person. Those guys definitely are good on the offensive end. We got some of our physical guys back from either their call-ups or from injury as well too. And then we got, of course, Austin Rodebush in goal right now. He's been with us all season. Last year, he had a lights-out performance in the COVID-shortened season for actually, of all teams, Knoxville. And then we also brought in a veteran goaltender by the name of Sammy Bedard that has been playing pretty well for us. He got the majority of the starts to get back into his game shape here towards the end of the season once he signed with us. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe he at one time played for Knoxville, and he's a little more well-traveled through the league, I believe. But I think he was there as well too at one point. So all in all, I mean, if you go up and down the roster and you take out that slide that we went into while we were on that 3-week road trip and a couple of weeks before that, and I'm not the only one that's saying it. Other fans are saying if you take that chunk out where we went to that losing streak, between undisciplined play at some nights or couldn't put three periods of hockey together, or whatever the case may be, some call-ups coming up through again. Roanoke is much better than an 8th seed. If you take out that stretch and if you could pick out that 1 month of a block out and get rid of it to help your seeding, I mean, Roanoke would be a lot higher, I think, than where they were. So they play a very good team game. There's not really, if you focus on 1 or 2 players, somebody else can come back and sneak one by and get it in that just as easy. So.
And that's the thing too. Well, the playoffs, man. If you get hot at the right time coming in, or
Right.
like with you guys playing those 3-game series,
Yeah,
anything can happen in those 3-game series. So
exactly.
there it is.
We got off that slide. I think it was the last 9 games of the year. I think we were 5-3 1-1. And really the only other team that was hotter was Knoxville. They went 9-1 in their last 10 games to finish out the season.
Wow.
Peoria went on that hot streak at the same time we did back around the holidays. We cooled off. They kept going, pushed their way up past us, and worked themselves all the way up to number 1 for I think a week, and then fell off. And they've kind of cooled off their last few games. So it'll be an interesting series between them and Pensacola. I think Pensacola is probably the most underrated, most quiet team you're not hearing a lot about on the message boards. Their fans aren't out there, hyping them up like it seems like the Peorias and the Huntsvilles and Knoxvilles and Fayetteville are doing. But that's going to be, I think, it's going to be an interesting matchup right there. That 3-6 combo right there. I think that's going to be a good one. And you can't sleep on Evansville. Evansville kind of put it together as well, too, towards the end of the year. But they did lose their number 1 goaltender to injury in the last week of the season. So the guy they had on the backup last I saw only had played like 8 games and had a sub-900 save percentage. So he's got his work cut out for him against a couple of the award winners that have been announced so far playing for Peoria. So.
Yeah,
maybe for Huntsville. I'm sorry. They're playing for Huntsville. Sorry. Huntsville's got a pretty balanced attack too. So
well, I tell you, that's awesome.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. That's awesome. And that's, it looks like each series has something a little bit different to offer.
Yes, it does. It does. You've got with Huntsville, you've got a great goaltender, Hunter Vorva. He is not off his game very often, and we've actually been able to give him a couple of his few losses this season with Roanoke. And then you've got, they're a very, they're another team that's very speed, but can play physical if you want to drag them down to the physical side as well too. So I think it's kind of getting to be like, college basketball. I think there's really a lot of parity when it comes playoff time, unless somebody just blatantly sneaks in at number 8. With all these teams, getting their call ups and that kind of stuff, and then getting guys back right before the playoff push, it changes what you see during the regular season. So I think there's a lot of parity, and I wouldn't be surprised if 2 of the lower seeds make it out of the first round. To be honest with you.
Well, that's the great thing about the playoffs. As soon as they start, everybody's 0-0-0. That's
exactly.
Exactly.
So
I know we talked about this the last time you were on, but just as a reminder, so you're from Morris, New York.
Yes,
that's the connection. Correct. The connection to Central New York, and one of our listeners, and him, Barry Shelley.
Yes, sir.
Great guy. He messaged me earlier. He says, obviously say hi.
Yes.
And you guys were just a few years apart, I guess, growing up in Morris.
Yes. Yeah.
And,
he went to school with one of my junior varsity basketball coaches. So.
Right. That's what he was saying. Yep. And he just kind of wanted to remind everybody just how it is that you got from Morris, New York, to being the voice of the Berglund Center in Roanoke, Virginia.
Well, I moved to Morris, New York in 1980 from the Roanoke area. After a death in the family, Mom wanted to be close to her family, so we moved to Morris. We stayed there until I graduated. And then I went to Cortland State for a year, and then came back to Virginia because my parents had moved back down here. Mm-hmm. And then, like I mentioned on the last show, I went to a couple hockey games here and there, went down, saw the Whalers when they were in Binghamton, and went out to Colgate University for a hockey game out there. And I enjoyed watching the hockey games at Cortland as well, too. The year I was there, had a couple guys on the club team that lived across from me in the dorm, so always went to support them. And my second semester roommate went to high school at the start of varsity goaltender, so we were always there at those games too. But my real passion for hockey really didn't develop until I moved back to Virginia, believe it or not. Got to watching Roanoke Express in the ECHL days, and fell in love with it, and found an opening one year when they were hiring game night staff, and sold programs and did, the on ice intermission stuff in between periods. Next year, jumped up, started basically being the arena DJ. When the first year we actually used computers instead of tape decks. And so I kind of ran with that system. And then after Slam Duncan left to go to Nashville, and he wound up being an in-game host down in Nashville for a while for the Predators. I kind of slid over into his chair because I kind of knew how the system operated, and run with it ever since. So
Nice. So I got to ask you then, when you were the house DJ, what was your favorite pump-up song to play?
Oh, now you're making me go back a little bit here. This was mid to late 90s. I don't know. There were so many. That was when kind of some of this techno stuff that the players like now was coming out. So there was a rave scene in the movie Blade.
Okay.
That was in the original Blade movie. That was always one of my favorites. It just kind of had a good drive, hard and beat. You could clap to it, not even knowing the song, things like that. Of course, being the Roanoke Express, one that was probably overplayed a ton was Come and Ride the Train.
Yeah.
City GJs.
You were probably sick of that song after a while.
For a while there, was like anything with a train in the title, we played it. Train Kept Rolling by Aerosmith. Crazy Train, we still use that one. Going out to the
Train.
And Train by Barefoot. I could find some of the Train that was upbeat and going. It was usually put in there at some point in time during those days. But nowadays, pretty much it's with what we're using here. We kind of model ourselves after what they're doing in NHL rinks. So we kind of, we still use the rock and country and stuff like that, but a lot of it is more the European sound and techno club type sound, because it seems like a lot of the players, especially the international players, really enjoy that side of it. And if that gets their juices flowing a little bit more, hey, we'll keep it going as long as they want it. So
you pick up the win, the end justifies the means, my friend.
That's right. So, but it was a good time, and it's been a good experience. It's actually Saturday night is going to be my 300th professional hockey game as a public address announcer.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. The team honored me on our last home game for number 299 with a ceremonial puck drop, and
really
gave a little it was a total surprise. I had no idea they were going to do it. Our internet broadcaster was asking me stats about it. He said, I just wanted to be sure, and he prefaced it, I just want to be sure I got the stats right, so I give you a shout out over the broadcast, things like that. So we're going through everything and going through the script, and of course I get the script when I get there, go through it, make sure I understand everything that's going on. We kind of went through that process last time I was on the show, but nothing was in there about that or anything like that. So we're rolling through, we're doing our pregame stuff, get ready to introduce the mascots, the lights going down. DJ tells me, when you're done here, you need to run down and get with Nikki, who is our president of operations for our team, down at the Olympia entrance. He needs to talk to you. I'm like, really?
What I do now?
I'm like, couldn't it wait maybe until after, I got all this stuff I've got to do to get to the game started. I could understand we could cover for, 5 minutes or something like that, but I really had to run downstairs and talk about something that might have been done wrong or needed to be changed or something like that. But, and he's like, yeah. And he's like, you need to run, not walk. You need to run down there. I'm like, what? I was like, come on now. It's like, he's like, as soon as you introduce the bench staff, you need to run down there. I'm like, what about the national anthem? What about the puck drop? Because we had a sponsor for the game that night, and they were in there as a puck dropper. And he's like, we'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. And then I was like, okay, I think I may know what's going on. So I did what I was told. I introduced the bench staff. I got up, and of course, I kind of described our situation at Berglund Center. It's a whole flight of stairs. It's about 25 feet up to the top. And I get to the top of the steps, and the vice president, Alexander Martin's waiting for me down there at the bottom of the steps. So I come running down the steps. I'm feeling awkward. I don't, it's the national anthem. We're getting ready to do the national anthem. You don't run through the arena. I've still got my hat on, all this kind of stuff. So you see at the bottom of the steps, and we're literally running through the outer concourse and running down to the ice level. She says, "Your puck drop number 2." And I was like, okay. So, and it was a very nice surprise. And I guess they took some of my pictures I've taken over the years with some of the staff and stuff in the press box, put it up on the video board while Joe was reading the actual write-up for everything. And I must have looked nervous because Travis Armstrong, our captain's like, "How you doing? You doing all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think so." So it was different. It had been a while since I'd actually been out in down at ice level, kind of eyes on me, because PA announcers are always heard but seldom seen. That's kind of the
You're sitting here in
the industry.
If you're in the crowd, you're wondering, where are they? They're like the Phantom of the Opera. Where are they?
That's right, exactly. Just you're kind of the voice from above type deal. So it was different. And then of course running right back up, I had to do the normal intro that I do to kind of the last minute hype up crowd that brings the lights back up from ringside, and ran back up there and got to the top of the steps. I sat down. I looked over at Joe. He's like, "I got the first 3 or 4 breaks." I was like, he said sweat was just dripping off of me, and I was panting for breath. I was just like, "Yeah, I'm not going to be able to read anything for a couple minutes here."
You do that because I got to find an oxygen tank. Thanks.
That's right. Exactly. I'm not a spring chicken anymore. 40 hit me hard, and running up those steps like that at 50, that's not what I expected to be doing at 50 years old. I usually just walk up. So, it's always fun to work for an organization like Roanoke has. I mean, the people that have gone on and moved on after the year and stuff like that, they've always done some type of recognition, and those were with more people that dealt with the public in general and things like that. We had a director of ticket operation that was here for 3 years. When he went back home to the Midwest, he had a pretty good farewell night. Of course, he was a crowd favorite, and just from his personality, and he got involved with T-shirt tosses. I mean, he gave the back row at anywhere in the arena from the ice with his arm. So he was a real crowd favorite, things like that. So to be recognized as someone that's not necessarily in the public eye that much, just more in the public ear, it was very humbling and very appreciative of what they thought I brought and contributed to the franchise in 5 years. So.
Well, that's really great, though. I mean, congratulations. That's awesome. That really is.
So
I'm glad you brought that up because you didn't say that before.
No.
It was a surprise. Just as much as it was a surprise to you, it was a surprise for us too. So
right, exactly.
There you go.
And I kind of got going down that path and started doing the math about a month or 2 ago, because one of my PA brothers in the NHL had said this is my 300th game or something like that with the San Jose Sharks, and I got to thinking and I started doing the math, and I was like, well, I'll be darned if I didn't miss the one game back in the first season because of the flu. The last home game of the year would have been number 300. But it's nice to kind of hit that benchmark. I mean, it won't buy me a cup of coffee at McDonald's or anything, but as much as I enjoy doing this job and things like that, I think it's pretty neat that I've had the opportunity to get to that mark as well.
Oh, certainly. That is great, though. That's congratulations again, man. That's totally awesome.
And it is kind of ironic, but because I am actually leaving the team after this season.
Really?
I haven't spread that too much either. But
where are you going?
I'm actually coming back towards your direction.
Coming back to where?
Coming back your direction. I'm gonna
really?
I'm going to be moving back to upstate New York. I'll be down in the Binghamton area, living down there, and that way
no kidding.
Closer to family. Kind of be within an hour's distance. In case mom needs help with something like that. It's kind of hard to help her out some days. When some things pop up, obviously, unexpected stuff pops up.
I'll tell you what, then, if you're going to be back in the Binghamton area, you know what that means, right?
Oh,
it
yeah.
means, hey, we're going to have to meet at Barry Shelley's Rink of Dreams sometime.
Yes, very much
Beyond
so.
a shadow of a doubt. And it also means that you got to meet us at a Utica Comets game, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That is one thing I'm very excited about. If I don't have the chance to find a job to continue what I'm doing now with a hockey team or some way in some form, at least I will have numerous opportunities within a 2-hour radius to catch hockey.
Absolutely.
I mean, I growing up, playing basketball in high school and things like that. Obviously, college basketball used to be my favorite sport, but ice hockey is by far. I've watched more hockey games this year than I did in March Madness, so it's just kind of taken over. But
it tends to do that.
Yeah. So with 3 AHL teams within an hour radius of Binghamton.
Yeah.
And then of course Buffalo is only a 3.5 hour drive from Binghamton as well too. Rochester's about 3 hours away as well. So it'll be fun. And then, like I said, like we talked last time, there's a lot of good college hockey that feed into this league that I'm used to seeing all the time.
Absolutely.
Through the SUNY system as well too. So and Utica and Elmira and places like that. So yeah, it'll be a nice place to settle down and kind of be in the middle of all that action and kind of pick and choose. All right, well, this will be a good matchup, and I definitely need to come up and check out a Pioneers game because I haven't done that yet as well too.
Oh, absolutely, and you got Cornell right there. It's
exactly.
It's going to be Colgate right up the road. I mean, definitely we'll definitely be seeing more of you then.
Yes, absolutely. So, but I'm in the process of getting things packed up and things like that. So, worst case scenario, if I told the team that I'm committed through the entire playoff run. So, if they go through the championship series, I'll be up there probably the last day of April. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, best of luck in that playoff run. You guys looking to make a run all the way to the President's Cup. So
That's right. That would be a nice feather on the end of the career with the Dogs, is to see them raise that cup a little bit. So
that would be cool. It would be so cool. And Roy, thanks for coming back on and keeping us updated with what's going on down there. Because like I said, I just love this league. It is so much. It's just so fun to keep track of. You can keep track of it at thesphl.com. They're all over social media. You got Facebook, Twitter. If you look up the SPHL on YouTube, there's videos. The Roanoke Rail Yard Dawgs, they're on Facebook, Twitter, all over the place. So
all over the place. I think the only one they don't do right now is TikTok. So
neither do we. So
yeah, but
my days of dancing on camera are over. So
exactly. But yeah, I mean, they're definitely prevalent on social media, so it's easy to cover them throughout the league. And of course, if you're really interested in checking it out, there's always the Hockey TV. The playoffs are all on Hockey TV as well too. So
that's right.
You see some good hockey. You might see some strange arenas just for scheduling conflicts. Sometimes playoff games are played in practice arenas, but it doesn't.
Well, if you tune into a game with the Berglund Center, you'll hear Roy.
Change the pace of play. So
exactly. And ask the Arizona Coyotes because they're going to be going through that next season. So
exactly. Yeah. It's good enough if it's good enough for the NHL, it's good enough for the SPHL too, right?
That's right. There you go.
So.
Well, Roy, once again, thank you so much for coming back on. We really appreciate it. And stay in touch. And like I said, if you need any help with the move or anything like that, we'll do everything we can to help you out. And otherwise,
and don't forget, you guys still said something about taking a road trip to Roanoke. I can
absolutely
with you and give you the insiders tour a little bit. Make sure you catch a game in Roanoke the right way.
That would be awesome. Absolutely.
Well, thanks for having me. Thanks for the invite once again. And we'll catch you at a later date.
Absolutely, Roy. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Take care. We'll see you. Roy Chambers, man, I love that SPHL. I can't help it. I really do.
Because?
It's just so cool. It is a cool league. It really is.
We got a good league here.
Exactly. Well, yes, of course we do. But, it's just one of those leagues that not a lot of people have heard of,
at
least up here.
Yeah.
But, I mean, seriously, passionate fan base, you betcha.
Well, Rail Yard Dawgs.
Yeah, hey.
I mean.
Exactly. So, Dave, I'm going to close the show with a few happy birthdays because we didn't get to those. So,
yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So first of all, happy birthday to, let's see, Neil Brady, former Utica Devil, turned 54 on Tuesday. Happy birthday to Jason McBain. Jason McBain turned 48 on Tuesday. He played 9 games for the Hartford Whalers from 1995 to 1997. And you want to know why Jason McBain's important and on our happy birthday list? He was born in Ilion, New York.
Oh, really?
Making him the only NHL player to have ever been born in Hartford County.
Nice.
Bet you didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
See, I should have had that be breakaway trivia.
Gretzky.
Yeah, there you go. Also, a happy birthday to Tom Laidlaw. Tom turned 64 this Friday. Remember when he was on the show? He was awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely awesome.
No, he was, yeah.
He was just a cool guy to talk to.
Yeah.
And last but not least, I pulled this one up just for you because I think you'd find this entertaining. You ready for this?
All right.
Happy birthday to Peanuts O'Flaherty.
Okay.
Peanuts would have been 104 on Sunday.
And his chest would have been on fire.
He did play 21 games for the Brooklyn and New York Americans back in 1941 and 42. I just figured for you, you would love the name Peanuts O'Flaherty.
I do. I like that.
You know, they just don't make them like peanuts anymore.
It's better than Okanokanaka.
Ukapekalukanen? Nobody will ever beat that. See?
I wanted you to say that.
There, you did it again. You suckered me right in.
How many times this show?
Yeah, well, you know what you got to do? You got to come up with a counter. I put it on the screen.
What kind?
Just a little Ukapekalukanen counter.
Oh, geez, no.
No?
No.
Come on. You know that? Remember that show Pee-wee's Playhouse? It could be like Pee-wee's Playhouse. Every time we say Ukapekalukanen, you have to scream.
Yeah. No. Not gonna happen.
Ah, boy. Well, you know what, Dave? I think we've had enough fun for this week.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Time for us to hit the trails. Oh, boy. But you know what? You can always check us out at martysillegalstick.com. If you're looking for more sports coverage, you can go to mylittlefalls.com. Right? You can also check out Marty's Illegal Stick on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. If you check us out on YouTube, please hit subscribe. Same thing with My Little Falls. Check us out there. Hit subscribe if you would, please. We appreciate it. All right. That's all the time we got for this week. We appreciate you listening. We thank Brennan Miller once again for coming on. We thank Roy Chambers once again for coming on. And, of course, thank you, Dave the Save, for hitting all the right buttons, as you always do.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We will see you guys all next week. Thanks again for listening. Have a good one.